Lisa Kindred had every reason to celebrate Mother's Day, blessed with 2 young children and a beautiful 10-day-old baby.
When you think about Lisa, what do you think about?
By all accounts, she was a great mom and a good person.
But instead of flowers and a box of candy, Lisa gets a bullet straight to the heart. Shot in a minivan with her children just inches away.
One shot right through the heart. Right through the heart.
Within hours, cops arrest 2 young men and charge them with murder. But now, a witness surfaces, claiming police got the wrong guys.
Did you see the person who did this?
Yes.
Could you identify them?
Yes.
Did the police ever question you?
No.
Never.
Never.
When Lisa was murdered, it was a very different time in the Motor City than it is right now. Back then, racial tensions were raging, crime was at an all-time high, and there were all sorts of allegations of police squeezing suspects to get convictions and not really solving cases. I know, I covered crime in that city. So you can imagine, when a young mother is murdered on Mother's Day, police are desperate to find a killer.
I'm like, oh my God, this is bizarre. This is a hell of a story.
Within hours of Lisa's murder, investigative reporter, now private investigator, Scott Lewis begins covering the story for our Detroit affiliate, WXYZ.
I did an investigation on this case and I called it a Mother's Day murder.
But from day one, Scott says something was fishy.
The whole thing just didn't wash. It didn't pass the smell test.
Lisa's husband, Will, who refused to interview on camera, tells Scott that terrible night started at this drive-in movie theater.
It's Saturday before Mother's Day. Will Kindred is going to take his 3 children and his wife to a drive-in movie in Dearborn. The youngest child is 10 days old. If you are a mother and you've got a 10-day-old baby, do you really want to go to the drive-in?
No.
Oddly enough, they went to see the movie Life, about 2 men wrongly accused of murder. Around midnight, as Lisa drives them home, Will asks to stop at a relative's house.
Will decides that he's going to go to his brother-in-law's house to talk to him about buying a motorcycle. Now it's 11:30 at night on a Saturday, and you got 3 kids in the car. So they go over to this house on Hurlbutt. Lisa stays in the car with the 3 children. Will goes in the house.
It's a rough part of town, especially at night, and especially for Lisa, who doesn't know this neighborhood at all.
20 minutes later, she's getting antsy, and she goes up and knocks on the door and says, "Come on, we've got to get going."
Will still doesn't come out of the house.
Second time, she goes to the door and says, "If you're not going to come, I'm going to leave with the kids. You're going to have to find a ride home."
But this time, when Lisa heads back to the minivan, someone is waiting for her.
As she's getting in the car, the man walks up as she's closing the door, raises a .22 caliber pistol, shoots through the glass.
Lisa somehow manages to slam the van and drive and races out of there.
Will Kindred says he was walking out of the house. He heard what sounded like a car door slam, saw his wife racing down the street in the car. He sees a guy running through the yard across the street and down the alley. So he goes and chases the guy.
She's been shot in the heart and makes it only 3 blocks to this gas station. Lisa stumbles out of the car and collapses in a pool of blood, with her children screaming inside the van.
This is the house right here where his brother-in-law lived.
I can't even imagine the fact she's hit, and then she obviously has the wherewithal to get the heck out of there.
Exactly.
I'm sure the first people she's thinking about are her kids.
Absolutely. She's trying to save her kids. She doesn't know why this guy is shooting her.
Lisa's husband tells police after he loses the gunman, he takes off to find his wife and makes it to the gas station just in time to see Lisa loaded into the ambulance. She takes her last breath at the hospital. Police immediately scour the area for witnesses and within hours have 20-year-old Kendrick Scott and 24-year-old Justly Johnson in custody and charge them with murder. Police based their case on the ear witnesses' testimony of 2 men who claimed to have overheard Justly and Kendrick at a party that night talking about hitting a lick. That's sometimes used as street slang for robbing someone.
As sure as I'm sitting here, they didn't commit that murder. I'm convinced of it.
But if Justly and Kendrick didn't do it, who did pull the trigger? a chilling letter could hold a crucial clue.
The moment I heard on Sunday morning that Lisa had been murdered, my first thought was that he, Will, did it.
You finished reading that, Scott, and you thought what?
I thought, I'm probably onto something important here.
Next, a disturbing secret about Lisa's husband is uncovered.
He broke down the bathroom door and he assaulted Lisa in the bathroom. And then when she was on the way to the police station, he pulled up next to her in the car and said, I ought to take you and the entire family out.
This was a planned hit, and the only question is who planned it and who carried it out.
And later, the one witness who says he knows the real truth.
He said, Mr. Lewis, I will never forget the face of that man who murdered my mother. And my heart just stopped.